Check, check. One more. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to begin our press conference in just a couple of minutes. If you would like to be seated and join us, we can escort you to seats if you're interested. Thank you very much. Thank you. If anyone else wants to see the press conference, if you'd please get seated now because we can't have you seated once we start. Okay, thank you. If anyone else wants to be seated, we'd like you to find a seat now before we get started. Thank you.
Welcome everyone, welcome to Ann Arbor, and welcome to the statewide celebration kickoff for National Travel and Tourism Week here in Pure, Michigan. I am Chad Wiebesick, I'm the president of the Tourism Industry Coalition of Michigan, and today we are joining so many other communities all across the U.S. in recognizing and celebrating the important role that travel plays in our lives, in our businesses, in our communities, and in our economies. And today is also a very historic moment in time because today is the 40th annual anniversary for National Travel and Tourism Week. And the National Travel and Tourism Week started in 1983 by congressional resolution. And it's always celebrated the first full week in May all across the U.S. And this year's theme is Travel Forward. And that reflects how travel is essential to every aspect of our lives because it stimulates economic growth, it creates jobs, it generates state and tax revenue that provides for public services that our residents rely on, things like K through 12 education and public parks and public safety, road services, and a lot more. Travel also enriches our culture, and it enriches the quality of life for us Michiganders every single year. I love to travel. I grew up traveling, and I grew up living around the world. And by the time I graduated high school, I had lived on North America and all across Europe and all across Asia, and I had visited dozens and dozens of countries. And I learned a lot through traveling. And one thing I learned is that travel has taught me so many things, but there are far more similarities than differences we have as us human beings. And ultimately, travel has taught me that travel and tourism isn't just an industry. Travel is a force for good because it connects us to new people and new places that are different than ourselves. It breaks down barriers. It broadens our horizons and it enriches our souls. That is the power and promise of travel. And when we travel, we learn about ourselves and we learn about our place in the world. Travel helps us grow, and travel helps us to be better people. And the travel industry in the U.S. has a profound impact on our economy. Prior to the pandemic, the U.S. travel industry generated $2.6 trillion in economic impact on our economy. And the travel industry supports 20 million jobs for Americans here in our country. And it's a critical component to the economy in communities across the entire U.S. And businesses in every corner of the country rely on the travel industry every day. And here in Michigan, we are proud and pleased with the diversity that we have in our beautiful state, because it really offers something for everyone, from our stunning lakes and forests to our vibrant towns and cities to our rich culture and heritage. We have it all here in pure Michigan. And we're also proud that our travel industry in this state supports nearly 190,000 jobs annually. And travel creates joy, wonder, and discovery for millions and millions of Michiganders each and every single year. So this week, we invite you and you and you and all of you to explore all that Pure Michigan has to offer and discover why Pure Michigan is a pure destination for travelers everywhere. You will hear from some speakers today, and they will talk more about the power and the impact of travel. And with that, I would like to introduce Sarah Miller. Sarah is the CEO and president of Destination Ann Arbor. Sarah.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you all for joining us today, and welcome to Ann Arbor. Get to stand here in front of you in the big house, which is pretty exciting. Built in 1927, 97,000 spectators to today's 901,000 spectators. So there's a reason it's the big house. Most of the city of Ann Arbor actually can fit inside of this stadium, which is pretty interesting. Some other folklore to tell you about, and I'll let you determine if it's true or not. So the Michigan Stadium was actually built on a water source that was the main source of water for the University of Michigan. And the water table was so low they had to bring in dirt for an underground lake kind of a thing, and it caused the dirt to kind of work as quicksand. So rumor legend has it that there is still a crane buried underneath the stadium. The funny part about it is they've done a lot of digging on this, and even the people that were working the stadium, it's sworn to secrecy. So no one said yes or no to whether or not that's true. So we'll leave it all to you to whether or not you think there's something still there. We also want to thank you all, our county commissioners especially. This year they claimed National Travel and Tourism Week in Washtenaw County for this week. So thank you to them for that and that recognition as well. Washtenaw County, as Chad said, and the travel industry with all of you as partners, you know what it means to our destinations. In Washtenaw County specifically, in 2021, that was 6.1 million visitors and an economic spend of $899 million, creating 6,800 jobs. It's a big deal, and it's a pleasure, a pleasure to be a part of that growing industry that impacts the quality of life, the visitors, and everyone else that we can serve here in Washtenaw County. So thank you again so much for being here, and I'd like to introduce Dave Lorenz, the Vice President of Travel Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah and Chad, and thank you, everybody, for being here today. Really appreciate it. I was actually hoping we could fill all these seats today, but in a way, we really have, because those of you who are here today, if you think about this, you're part of a workforce of over 300,000 people who directly work in the travel and tourism industry. That could fill the big house more than 3 times. That is only the people who we count as directly being in the Michigan travel industry. We don't necessarily count the people who we actually help employ because of the work that we all do. But as is often said, sometimes those things that we can't count the most. Sometimes we really don't look at things about the value of travel and tourism, as Chad said, to bring people together. If there's ever been a time when we need to bring people together, it's really right now. And that's what you do. You are the leaders in hospitality in the country, in my mind. You help bring people here, not only for leisure, but for business and conventions and conferences, for sporting events, for group events, for family reunions. Think about all the ways the travel and tourism industry affects and impacts us positively. That's because of your work. So thank you for that. All of us in Michigan should thank you for that, because the travel industry truly does power every other industry and community in this country. That's how important this travel industry is. And that's why it's so appropriate for us to have National Travel and Tourism Week at the same time that we have National Economic Development Week. We're an important part of the economy. And I think it's about time we just kind of stand up and say, yeah, we count too, because we do, as an industry. So I want to thank you for everything you do. I also want to share with you, we announced this at the tourism conference a month ago, earlier this month, I've lost track, last month, that because of the efforts of our small but mighty team, the great work of MMGY Global, and because of the partnership we have with many of you, we were really happy that last year's Pure Michigan campaign, for every dollar we spent, brought back more than $11 to the state treasury. $11+ in ROI. Our goal is to try to spend the dollars that we get as appropriately, as efficiently, as effectively as we can. We can only do that with your support. So thank you for helping us out and for doing all you do to help bring people here as well. Because this really is, it's a team game. Just like playing football here. You're not going to win unless everybody plays their role. You need offense. You need the Pure Michigan campaign out there to tell our story to the aggregate. You need the local communities to do the same. And you need the private sector. And we have to be clear, the private sector invests more collectively in travel promotion than we could ever dream about. So we thank them for all they do and for the work that you do as well. So again, thank you for being here. I can't wait for this season. It's going to be a great one. And we're going to kick it off, excuse the pun, tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll be out all this week during National Travel and Tourism Week. So tonight at 7 o'clock, Tom Dalden from the PBS TV show Under the Radar and I will be talking to many of you. For about an hour, we'll be live streaming on Michigan.org, on Pure Michigan Live, Pure Michigan Facebook Live, on Under the Radar Facebook Live, and on My Michigan TV. Did I get that right, David? Yeah. All right, I can't believe it. Yeah, so 7 o'clock tonight here from the Big House. And then tomorrow night, Tuesday, we'll be up in Sault Ste. Marie. On Wednesday, we'll be in Charlevoix. Thursday, we'll be in South Haven. and then Friday in Flint. What a great collection of communities to showcase, and the regions to showcase. We're hoping to get commentary and input from everybody, sharing travel tips, deals and discounts here and there, and your insights of why people should stay here or come here for travel this season. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again for being here. Let's get going.
Thank you, everyone, for joining today for National Travel and Tourism Week here in our great state of Pure, Michigan, and as we all travel forward together. And let's make this week a great week to travel widely and travel often and travel responsibly. And so this concludes our press conference. And on behalf of the Tourism Industry Coalition of Michigan, also known as TICOM, thank you. TICOM is a statewide collaborative organization that unifies Michigan's travel industry and gives Michigan travel leaders a sense of strength and purpose and knowledge. And so right now we will transition to the second part of the event, which is the networking. So members of the media, you will get an opportunity to meet so many members of Michigan's travel leaders today, from the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association to the Michigan Golf Course Association to the Michigan Craft Beverage Council. You will get a chance to meet them here today and learn from them about how their efforts are driving Michigan's economy forward. And at 2:45, we will reconvene and we will take a guided tour of the Big House. And once again, thank you for being here, and let's keep moving forward and keep celebrating the purpose and promise and power of travel. So thank you.